And just when I thought things couldn't get any worse for Glock as a company, the Generation 6 Glock images have been leaked. And spoiler alert, they are completely and utterly unimpressive and lack all innovation. And this comes at a very convenient time when Ruger and Magpul have just announced their full-size RXM variant, thus rendering the Glock 17 Gen 5 into dinosaur category and has been surpassed entirely by a cheaper and better, more modular model of the RXM, or you could even go as far as to say M&P 2.0 or the PSA Saber Dagger and many other names and companies that I could list here today. I have a challenge for any of the Glock corporate weirdos in the marketing team or lawyers that may be watching this right now. The challenge is very simple. I want you to go one full business day without completely and utterly ruining the heritage and history of your company that is Glock. Don't ruin the trust with your audience or customer base for one business day, and try to stay out of the media and out of the attention and the spotlight for one business day. That is the very simple challenge that I am bringing to you for all the weirdos at Glock that thought that this would be a good time to release the Generation 6 images conveniently leaked, okay? So we're going to get into the Glock images, and the question I want you to ask yourself today, for all the remaining Glock fanboys or any of the longtime supporters like myself that have carried guns just like this Glock 17 right here, this Gen 5, for all the guys that have been in the Glock camp for so long, I want you to ask yourself a very simple question today and answer down below in the comments. Is Glock, with the price point that they ask and the lack of innovation as of the announcement of the Generation 6, on accident, the leaked images and of the V-Series performance, which has been lackluster at best, underwhelming at best, is Glock actually even living up to the name perfection? And is it even equal? Is it even equal to the RXM, which is allegedly half the price for double the performance, right? You get more modularity, better performance out of the box, a steel guide rod, steel sights, all the things that I've discussed, a better grip, a more natural grip, all the things on an RXM are now better, and you can get it at half the point. So the question I want you to ask yourself, is a Glock actually better than a Ruger RXM or even a freaking PSA Dagger or an M&P 2.0 with the red dot mounting capability and all the things that you can get out of either an RXM or other things on the market, okay? So we're gonna go over the Generation 6 here. And of course, all that I ask that you guys do is hit the like button, share this video with a buddy, and just comment down below. Is Glock living up to their name even remotely at this point, with their lack of innovation, with their lack of trust in their audience and customer base, with going anti-Second Amendment and anti-2A, siding with anti-Second Amendment legislation, canceling their Generation 3 through 5 guns, all the things that we've discussed here on the channel so much here recently? Are they even equal to Ruger and Magpul at this point with their RXM? Are they even equal to freaking PSA and their Dagger? And be honest, other than the name, if you were to put them in front of you, right? You have an RXM, a Glock, and a Dagger. You have a red dot on a couple that are mounted directly into the slide, and on the Glock, you have an MOS plate system that's going to break. Which one is actually better? And guess what? Which one of those three do you think is the most expensive? The least modular and least able to perform out of the box, unfortunately, right? So, and that's with my testing. I have tons of burn downs on the RXM and Dagger here on the channel, as well as the Glock. And guess which one had the most issues? The Glock 19 and even the Glock 17. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get into the Gen 6. What I'm looking at right now on the iPad of truth on this Gen 6 picture is a stippled grip, okay? A slightly flared magwell, a stippled grip in two places where the non-firing thumb will rest and on the firing hand, okay? So a stippled grip and a extended dust cover, or guys call it different things. We'll just call it a dust cover here, okay? On the underbarrel, the underlug, if you will. So does that warrant a Generation 6? From what I'm looking at here, there is a possibility of a modularity system based on this image where the grips do look like they may be able to be popped off with another size put on. But I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an update. The SIG P320 can do that. The Ruger RXM can do that. Multiple other guns can already do that. The M&P 2.0 can do that. The Saber can do that. The Dagger, right? All these other guns, the RXM, if I didn't mention that, can do that. This is not impressive from what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at here It doesn't appear that there's even a safety dingus on the trigger, the safe action design with the safety dingus, if you will. So this part right here, right? It doesn't even appear, and this weapon is clear and safe, it doesn't even appear that there's a safety dingus on the new guns at all like there is on this Gen 5. That is just from this low quality image that I'm looking at right here, okay? So when I'm looking at this image, I see what appears to be plastic sights, an extended dust cover or underlug, whatever you want to call it, potentially for some porting on the bottom, maybe. A stippled grip, a lack of a safety dingus, and an enlarged magwell, which what appears to be a Generation 5 magazine in the gun. Front slide serrations, it looks like a 48. When I'm looking at this, it says engineered for you, designed by our heritage. Okay? Engineered for you, designed by our heritage. But what I'm looking at here is a Glock 48. That's what it looks like. It looks like a Glock 48 with more stippling on the grip. And if there is a modularity aspect to this gun, guess what? Other weapons, such as this Ruger RXM, already have that, but they've already done it better. The SIG P320 has even done it better. The Ruger RXM has already done it better. Hey, Glock, I think you have lost at your own game. And I think you did that through undermining the Second Amendment in Oklahoma and in California, canceling your Gen 3 through 5 duty and combat rated guns, like we've been talking about. Your failure to innovate over the years and your lack of V-Series innovation and now your lack of Gen 6 innovation has led to your audience and customer base not trusting you entirely. You don't innovate, you betray the people that have supported you through the years, and I am utterly unimpressed, okay? I'm not impressed at all. I look forward to reading your comments down below on what you think on this new Gen 6 gun, but from what I'm looking at on this leaked image, it looks like a stippled, no safety dingus, a little bit longer of an underlug, and plastic sights, and maybe a modularity component with the fire control unit, maybe. Other than that, it looks exactly the same as any other Glock. And some guys in the comments are going to cope and say, well, that's what we want. We want it to be the same. So you want it to be a polymer guide rod with no fire control unit, ability to put on a different grip. So for example, if you had a Glock 19 Gen 6, you know, when the P320 came out or the RXM, you could have had a 26, a 19, and a 17 all in one serial number. They've waited years, decades to even get to the point now. And Ruger, Magpul, all the other companies I've named here today have already beat them at their own game. Okay? So let me know what your guys' thoughts are, but I'm unimpressed. I figured I would bring this to my audience. I have other bigger fish to fry today with the State of the World updates, so I'll be seeing some of you guys over there as things are getting hot, potentially over in Venezuela. But let me know what you guys think about this. Share with a buddy, do the like, all the YouTube stuff, like the video, comment, all the stuff, and I look forward to arguing with all the Glock fanboys down below that just simply cannot see the writing on the wall and Glock for who they truly are in 2025 going into 2026. Have a good rest of your weekend, guys, and until next time, this is going to be Trench Grenade, your average Gen 6 looks like trash video enjoyer that your mom says that we have at home, signing out. Cheers.